It's that time once again where my audience gets to live vicariously through my collection of independent toys as we look through what came out in the world of Glyos in the last couple of months. And as usual in the show-off segment, before we get to all of the releases from the official companies, I just have to talk about this little guy. So if you know these series well enough, if you've been following my Glyos videos for a while, you know my absolute favorite character design is Sarvos. This little traveler guy here. Well, guess what? This is the very first version. It took me forever to find one of these. I missed more than one opportunity to get one, and now it finally rests in my hand. If you're very attentive, you'll know that his chest is a completely different design than usual. This was when he was so new, he didn't even have his own torso design yet. He was just a replacement head. That's old. This is like wave 5 something, and we're like 60 waves into Glyos now. It's pretty old and pretty hard to come by. Took me forever, but hey, he's part of the family now. Could not be happier. I should, if plans go accordingly, have something legitimately fascinating to talk about next time we do one of these show-off segments, but that's if plans go accordingly, and they rarely do for me, but here's hoping for the best. But he is a very old release. Time to talk about new ones. So if you have not been paying attention to the world of Glyos for the months of February and March of 2017, this is what you missed. And I keep trying to come up with new ways of saying that, and it's just getting weird. First off, new from Bitfigs, it's the Gatekeeper. Look at this. So Gatekeeper is one of the classic Glyos color schemes in purple and bright pink. It's extremely alien, and it is the color scheme that got me into Glyos in the first place. Here we have it on the Bitfig Faden, looking quite cool. So definitely pops and definitely gets the alien nature of Glyos figures across. And I still love this faux 8-bit design that they've got going on here. I'm still waiting for different Glyos designs to come out in this Mega Bitfig style, but for now, this is cool. And the assortment did also come with a tiny fully painted one that goes along with him, as well as the assortment of ninja and animal-themed Bitfigs that were also done up in the matching purple. So it's nice to see that Bitfigs are marching on as very curious little tiny and very inexpensive Glyos collectibles. I have yet to find one in a capsule machine. I'm still waiting for that moment when I actually find those, because those are available, but so far have not had much luck. So we stick to the online releases till then. Next up, we're going to take a look at Spy Monkey Creations and their Battle Tribes line, because they got some more homages out. First off, we will start with the completely new and original Brilliant Ultra Silver. I love Ultra Silver. It's been one of my favorite colors to build with, and the gold accents are so nice on this figure. Very cool. And like most of these, I'll tell you, they come with so many accessories and heads. It's very hard to get bored with how these things look. Always really liked it for that. But that's something more of a original. Like Spy Monkey likes to do homages with their figures, and well, they did He-Man before, so I guess it's only fair to go to Thundercats. Hey, why not at this point, right? And it's their standard human head, doing its best passing job at being Lion-O. His face kind of has like a reverse Homer Simpson thing going on, where his face is just brighter where the stubble is supposed to be. Still, it's a cool little inspired way of trying to create a Lion-O looking figure out of what is supposed to be a generic barbarian. It kind of works. What works, and even stranger, is the other one, which is Panthro. Which, likewise, they don't have nunchucks, so they just painted up two of the weapons blue and red. Strangely enough, this is their orc head. But for some reason, it actually kind of works. I'm not sure why, but there's just enough of the shape there to get away with it. I really like Panthro, so that was a fun one for me. Very strange one at that. There is another release that just came out that I had to skip on just because I didn't know where money was going to be this month. That one consisted of more Masters of the Universe homages with Web Store and Triclops. So if you're interested in those, or if you like those figures I just showed off, I believe those are still available in the store as of this video. As usual, all of the makers featured in this episode are in the description. Take a look. Some of this stuff might still be in stock. Well, some of it maybe. It gets a little slip shot sometimes. But hey, that's the way Glyos goes. You have to be there when it comes out, because some of this stuff goes extremely quickly. And speaking of that, it's time to look in on the God Beast, who we've not seen in quite a while here, but he had a surprise visitor with his crew of bugs this time. Behold, for the first time in a long time, we have a brand new Callgrim in a lovely shade of toxic metallic green. Absolutely love it. That said, never paint that section of his face mask white again. It looks like two giant beaver teeth, and I can't unsee it no matter how hard I try. White works for the torso and all that. It's very skeletal, but those, like the faceplate, no. That didn't work so much. Try not to do that again. I know, it'd work if it wasn't in white, I guess. But no, very, very cool. This thing sold out very quickly, as did the axis joint upgrades that you can see on his arms, which typically Glyos is nothing but swivel and swing articulation. These axis joints give me universal articulation in the shoulders or wherever I choose to put them, which makes these things exceedingly more interesting as action figures, as opposed to just really nifty sights into the imagination of the creators. This is one of the things I love about Glyos. It is just raw imagination given plastic form. You know, there's no bean counter saying you can't make a green toy this month. There's too much green on the shelves. Screw you, I'll make a green toy. I'll make all the green toys I want. So there's the matching Kabuto Mushi to go with them. I'm not sure about the white with this, but I'm still loving the metallic green. Like any Glyos producer that gives me metallic green, I will give you quite a bit of money. This one, well, no real exception. I will say there were other figures in the drop, but none that really suited my fancy color-wise. There's a weird thing going on with Onell design right now, where most of the drops include a mystery figure that's based on, of all things, Fisher-Price Adventure People's toys, like really old action figure toys. Some have hit my fancy, some have not, and the ones that haven't seem to be all over Glyos right now, which is kind of strange, but I don't know, I guess, if you want to. The Onell design drop we are going to look at here came in February, and it was the Hyper Henshin drop, or Hyper Henshin Go, I believe the title of the drop was. And Henshin is always Glyos term for translucent color, so that means it is headed up by this guy, who is the Hyper Henshin Gly Armor. I do really like this amber plastic they have gone with, but the gold highlights are what really sells it for me. Typically, translucent effects don't really do much for me in Glyos, but it's that hit of metallic paint that gives them that added look of depth and just like shining body with armor that really kind of hits me in the right way. So, much prefer this to just standard translucence, and I do love the two-tone gold they got going on here. And not to be outdone, that particular figure came with a bit of interesting buddy. Literally, he came with a dog. Well, he didn't come with it. This is a very rare special build out of Onell design. You don't see just like completely new creations sold out of Onell these days. This is a massive cobbling of Gly armor and axis joints and swing joints and hub sets and all kinds of things going on in this. It's a ludicrous amount of parts, and if I wanted to break this down and super build him up with it, I could, and it would create like there's enough parts here to create absolute monstrosities. But it's a really clever build. It's a dog. I realized the other day, like I did a build project once where I tried to build a dog from Glyos because I'd never seen anybody do it, and it went over pretty big. And there's an ego in me that wants to believe I kind of triggered the creation of this thing, but well, That's I don't have enough ego to actually believe that. It's still cool. Also, this guy came with a few extra parts that actually let you build him into a familiar Glyos character that hasn't been around in a long time, which means there might still be a piece of him left, and he might be on his way back, which is fascinating. I kind of like that. So this, extremely unique. Extremely unique. So, what else do we have? Well, that drop came with a whole bunch of clears, as I said. Here's just straight up clear with silver, which is kind of the antithesis of Goldie over there. Looking quite creepy, actually, and I like that tampograph on the center. That's, again, from the Adventure People build. That's from the inspirations these days. That is from the X-Ray Man design, which actually was the mystery figure for this particular drop. And the color scheme I didn't really care for. But the tampograph is really cool. It gives him a bit of a unique look for him. So you go over there, and no, Callgrim, you drunken thing. You never count on a bounty hunter to actually show up in good condition on these things. You always count on be just a wee bit tipsy. I also tried his hand at something, kind of a novel idea, translucent silver. And he decided to try it out on the old skeleton armor, who we don't see much of these days, and I think that's to the benefit. I think this I think Glyos armor is kept best in small doses because they do tend to drive prices up for basic figures. But man, it's such an interesting look of all that metallic element, then plastic I can still see through. That's kind of cool. Also, he has that exact same tampograph on his chest except in red, which here means that skull face that's actually molded into the center has little red pupils inside. And I wish that was intentional. I get the feeling it was just a happy accident. It still looks really cool to the point I kind of want something that accentuates this specifically. Not sure when or if we would ever get that, but hey, it's a potential. And that's what Glyos is all about, is potential. So you go over there, because you get in the back. That also meant the Quellerans, which are the new Nobato. I just heard him pronounce Nobato, so now I've actually got my pronunciation straight. They came in a whole bunch of colors for Henshins. There's one I skipped, which was Neo no Nilla. I've still got it somewhere in a bag. I just got it as freebie. But, I don't know, that's pink and light blue that doesn't jive for me, but this two-tone blue works very well in this Mega Man-centric, brain of mine. And then we have Red Law Purple with a whole bunch of, bright pink and dark purple accents. Again, paint on translucent works well. You also notice heavily glittered plastic, which is kind of the theme for some of these figures nowadays. He really likes adding the glitter now. It was a specialty thing for a while, and I see it all the time since then. But still, those came out. Those look quite cool. Again, we got a lot of use of Gly armor, which does give them a lot of variations you can create and build. Does make them quite a bit more expensive, which is a little frustrating. Because I really want to recommend these guys to you, but sometimes the price gets a little bit funky on me. But hey, independent toys, it kind of does that. And some of these figures have been around for almost 10 years now, so you kind of have to understand them trying new things to keep it fresh and keep it interesting. Case in point, this was our first time for Onell to release a DX figure, meaning all the paint he could possibly muster, and this is the result. And this thing is absolutely gorgeous. You have a pale gold and a very vibrant gold, gray accents, and this is all on translucent green. You can see it there in the visor, and it's one of the rare times you'll actually see a translucent visor on a Glyos figure, even though so many figures have it, because this entire head is painted, except for the neck, which gives it just enough of a light piping effect, which is really quite cool. You can also see the piping through there on the chest, and you can see the green poking through at several points. It's a really fascinating look just to have some elements of the figure in translucent color, and then so much paint just layered all over this figure. Now, the downside to this is he has so much paint, I'm scared to build him into his other configurations, because like all the Gly Armor Travelers, he has the Varterix build, where all the armor's flipped around, and he has your standard Faden build, which is Sans armor. But I'm so scared of ruining this paint job. It's such a pretty thing to look at. I really don't want to take the risk of harming it. Still, this is really pushing the limits of what the paint on a Glyos figure is capable of, and makes it really interesting to look at and interesting to think about what else he's capable of if he's willing to go to this length on a paint job again. Now, this thing was like 20 bucks. Now, keep in mind, you do get a whole bunch of extra parts for building it into other forms and other bodies, but that's still a really heavy price, and I'm happy that this seems like it's going to be a special occasion thing, because that could get very, very tiring on the wallet. Still, as a one-off or as a first experiment, I think it's rather successful. It does look exceptionally cool, and I can imagine a lot of different color schemes that could really pop on that same concept. So that, my friends, is what Glyos looked like for the last couple of months. There's a few other producers out there. I might have missed a drop here or there. I know like things like Outer Spacemen I don't follow. They had a few things going on. So I do apologize if I missed out on anything. I can't buy it all. You know, I'm sorry. I wish I could. But as you can see, they're still all over the place. Glyos is still producing things. So many different styles, so many different colors, so many different tastes out there from so many different artists. And it's brilliant to see what kind of innovation and imagination can come from a toy maker when it's just the artist creating something they love directly from their own imagination. That's why I love this stuff so much, and why I'm going to keep continuing to bring it to you guys. So I'll see you in another couple months after I've got another batch of these built up, and when next we talk, judging on some of the stuff I've gotten already, it's going to be an interesting one.